Hey, it's a career here, and in this video I'll answer the burning question. In what order should you read Carl Jung's collected works? So if I had to start all over again, this is exactly what I would follow. Now, the reading guide I'm about to share was created by Heráclito Pinheiro, one of my teachers, so I gotta give him all the credit. Because when I first started reading Jung, I was all over the place and couldn't understand, most of his ideas and concepts. And when I joined my post-graduation course, coordinated by Heráclito, and started following this guide, everything changed. So I hope this helps you. And I'll also link his channel down below, and if you understand Portuguese, you should definitely check it out. Now, the first book of this list will be Man and His Symbols. This is a very interesting book because Carl Jung wrote it after a dream he had. And this dream was basically telling him to write an introduction to Jungian psychology. And if you know anything about Jung's character, you know that he was completely against it. He never wanted to write anything beginner-friendly. But luckily he followed his dream, and this text is quite interesting, because he wrote it toward the end of his life, so all of his theory was already very mature, and he's able to explain things in very simple terms. And I recommend that you read the first chapter wrote by Carl Jung and the third wrote by Marie von Franz. The second book of this list will be Volume 16, The Practice of Psychotherapy Part 1. So the first half of the book, which is about 108 pages, something like that. And this book is very underrated, but absolutely essential if you want to truly understand Jung, because it's the only place Jung gives a detailed explanation of his methods and the foundations of his thinking. He explains how he constructed all of his concepts and ideas based on conciliating the paradoxical nature of the psyche, and he calls that antinomies. Jung also explains the importance of following the dialectic method and his views on psychotherapy and its 4 stages. Now, the third book on this list will be Volume 10, Civilization in Transition, Chapter 4, The Undiscovered Self. And if I'm not mistaken, you can find this as a single book. So in this chapter, Jung explores his views on self-knowledge, and he criticizes the statistical and scientific method, since they can't grasp the individual. But it's important to highlight that Jung never abandons the scientific method, since he's always striving to conciliate an individual and general psychology. And with these last 2 books, you can better understand what framework Carl Jung follows, and you have the right, let's say, lenses to comprehend his whole work. Now, the fourth book will be Volume 17, The Development of Personality. Chapter 7, also entitled The Development of Personality. And honestly, this is one of my favorite chapters of all time, and I just feel something inspiring when I read it. And it's important to say that the development of personality and the individuation process are synonyms. And in this chapter, Jung explores in depth what it truly means and what it entails. And he goes over 3 components: necessity, pistis, and vocation. The next one will be the first part of Volume 9, Aeon. But calm down, because it's only the first 4 chapters. The one about the ego, the shadow, the syzygy, and the self. So this book's so abstract, complex, and, and weird, let's say, that you can just jump right into it. So the editors asked Jung to prepare some sort of introduction to his main ideas and concepts. And this is the only place you see Jung writing about his ideas in individual chapters and organized in that way. And this is very special because Jung is rarely clear, but in these chapters he was able to pull it off. Now, step 6 will be volume 18, called Symbolic Life, chapter 12, entitled A Reply to Martin Buber. And this chapter is a game changer and absolutely essential to clearly understand Jung's position on religion and metaphysics. And spoiler alert, if you believe he was Gnostic or a mad wizard, you will be severely disappointed. And if more people read just this one chapter, we're going to see all of this New Age nonsense around Carl Jung and Jungian psychology. The next step will be Volume 7, 2 essays on analytical psychology. So now that you have a good background, it's time to read this whole volume. And it's surprising because every bit of Carl Jung's ideas are in this book, making this one of his most important works. I mean, seriously, everything you need to know about Jungian psychology is contained in this book, so pay special attention to it. Now for step 8, we're gonna come back to volume 18, but read the first chapter entitled The Tavistock Lectures. And it's a great read because Carl Jung introduces his typological method in this one, and it also has an introductory feel to it, making it a great foundation before attacking the psychological types. Also, we'll be able to see Jung talking about his concepts in a different light, so it will be good to complement everything you've read so far. For step 9, we're going to go into volume 9, the archetypes of the collective unconscious, and read the 4th chapter entitled The Psychology of the Child Archetype. And this is a special chapter because Carl Jung gives a great explanation about his ideas on archetypes and their applications. So now I'm going to deviate from Heraclitus' reading guide and suggest that you go into the psychological types and read chapter 5 entitled The Type Problem in Poetry. And this chapter is absolutely brilliant because Carl Jung introduces his most important idea and the goal of his entire work, namely the symbol formation process. So he basically explores the redeeming journey our soul must endure in order to unite the opposites within and unravel the self. So now I'm gonna give you 3 bonus tips, and the first one will be the book Animus and Anima by Emma Jung. Again, it's a very underrated book, but an amazing one. And since Emma Jung was Carl Jung's wife, I guess there is no one better to teach us about the Animus and Anima. And honestly, before I read her book, I couldn't really understand these concepts, but since her writing style is very clear and concise, very different from Jung's, this is a great book. The next book will be Inner Work by Robert Johnson, and I must say that Johnson did a great job synthesizing Carl Jung's method of dream analysis and active imagination. And reading the book, you can tell he's very familiar with the collected works, since he references the chapters on dream interpretation from volume 8 and also 16. Plus, Johnson provides, many practical tips and interesting ideas about how to approach the simulation of the unconscious, and he also uses a very accessible language. So I believe this is a great start, especially if you feel overwhelmed by Jung's collected works. And the last tip, and this one's from Heraclitus, will be chapter 11 from volume 6, The Psychological Types. So in the final part of this book, Jung left us a kind of dictionary. So whenever you're feeling lost and can't understand what the hell he's talking about, you can check clear definitions of his concepts over there. Lastly, I know that following these guides for very few people, and honestly, if you don't devote a lot of time and know how to apply Jung's highly abstract concepts, it can be a huge waste of time. And that's why I wrote my book Pisces Demystifying Jungian Psychology, in which I synthesize all of these books and a few more advanced ones. And I honestly believe this is the best way possible to start your journey with Jungian psychology and apply it right away. And the best part is that you can claim your copy when you join my newsletter down below. And finally, if you want a step-by-step to integrate the shadow, you can check the next video over here.